Today we're pleased to interview investigator Jack Baugher from Yakima, Washington. For the last 20 years, Jack's mission has been to protect as many Americans as possible from scams, con artists, and Ponzi schemes. Some of his investigations have brought down huge multi-million-dollar firms that never suspected that one man's initial efforts could stop them dead in their tracks. So tell us now, you recently investigated Karatbars International, which is a 5-year-old debt-free gold company out of Stuttgart, Germany. It seems to be starting to go throughout the country and many other countries around the world. What did you discover from your investigation about Karatbars?
Well, Matt, interestingly enough, when you start really going out and researching on companies, you discover good and bad. Because every company out there, you could name just about every Fortune 500 company, you're going to see some negative stuff. Right. So you have to, okay, negative, positive, which makes sense. So we started seeing reviews, a lot of them by individuals that wouldn't name themselves, making claims. And one of them that came up quite a bit is, well, how do we know that the gold has the correct weight? How do we know it's 999.9%? So we thought, well, look, if we're going to have any interest in doing anything with this operation, we've got to get down to the facts. And the only way to establish facts is to start going underneath the surface and start right at the heart of some of the allegations. So that's what we did. We actually went and got orders that were randomly ordered on Karatbars so that we could make determinations of the content of the purity. And that took going to location, to refineries that were independent. And what I mean by that, this isn't my second cousin or something running it who wants to simply pacify me and give it a good mark. So after going to these places and having some very sophisticated reviews of this, using some technology that's very advanced, they were able to make some determinations that even shocked them.
Really?
One of the fellows involved is giving strong consideration himself to get involved with Karatbars because he says, I haven't personally been able to refine anything this pure myself yet.
Really?
So whatever their process is, he says it's good. So we were very pleased. And there was additional things we went out and reviewed. We wanted to randomly check with different individuals. Are they getting what they ordered? Now I've talked to a person, I won't mention their name here on the program today, but it's somebody what we personally know that ordered from another gold company. And it's been months, Matt, he still hasn't got his gold order. So this becomes a pretty important thing. If you're going to start getting in the gold business, you want to get your gold if you order it. So we were able to determine that Karatbars had a very intense concern about folks getting what they ordered, and that's one thing we've been able to establish. Folks order it, they get it. Another one of the things that's right up here on the top of the list, if you're going to get involved with a company such as this, I'm getting my paycheck.
Yeah.
Karatbars in each situation we've been able to ascertain from different folks that we've interviewed is that people are getting paid for the work that they do. So another important one. All the key elements that we have been reviewing so far has been nothing but positive, and we ferreted through that process of trying to make determinations from a guy who gets in, who decides to get his package, and then he's sitting home playing video games and he didn't make any money and now he wants to get onto the computer, Matt, and make a negative review.
Right, yeah.
Under the name of Daffy Duck or something, I mean. So you can put some of that, but it takes some due diligence. And so we're in that process of being able to get some of the truth out there, and so we're happy about that. 3
important things I heard you say, just to recap. Number one, the gold is as advertised,
Absolutely.
Which is 999.9 pure 24-karat gold bullion.
That is true.
That it's being delivered in a timely manner, which is averaging 2 to up sometimes 4 weeks.
Absolutely, and for an international deal, that's fair.
Yeah, very fair. And number 3 is people are getting paid as advertised and promised in their payout plan.
That is absolutely factual.
Well, that's some pretty good, strong groundwork to believe in a company.
Well, it is, and if you're looking to find out if there's, and have me come on here today and say that Karatbars has never had a snafu, I'm not going to tell you that. Every company does.
Sure.
But there's main flagship type things that you want to look at. My product on time, I'm getting paid on time, what they offer is what you're getting. These are some key things, and as long as those elements are there, the fact that there was a little incident here or there, like any company, really is non-consequential.
Yeah.
It's those key issues that you have to be concerned with.
Yep. And one of the things that I was impressed with, and I've been a financial advisor for 25 years, and when I was approached with Karatbars, it was with a grain of salt, because we have to investigate everything, as I'm insurance licensed and securities licensed. I can't just jump into anything. Right. I'm one of those licensed people you talk about that retirees and pre-retirees should work with when talking about investments. And then my compliance officer did 30 days of due diligence, and they came back with the same investigation that I had. Strong company, debt-free company, the gold is as advertised, the payment plan is people are receiving their money, and the product's being delivered in a timely basis. And one of the things I noticed about the product that I love so much, besides it being 999.9 pure 24 karat gold bullion, is you have it LBMA accredited, which is the London Bullion Market Association. And on the backside you have the hologram technology, which verifies its authenticity and has not been tampered with.
Correct.
So that has a lot to do with the quality of the gold itself as well, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. There's a lot of counterfeit gold out there.
Yeah.
And if you're out buying gold, be careful not to be the victim of one of these scams where somebody will offer you what appears to be a fantastic deal. You're buying some gold, and people will get penny wise and dollar foolish, Matt. They think they've gotten this great deal, and all of a sudden they've discovered that they have fool's gold. It isn't worth a plug nickel. It's copper underneath, plated with 24 karat gold. With at least with Karatbars, you know what you're getting, and you've got the documentation with it to help prove what you've got.
Yeah, yeah. That was important for me because of the LBMA accreditation, the assayer signature. On the backside, you had a hologram and you had a serial number. I mean, there's no burden of proof from the owner to prove that it is pure gold. It's already been done on both sides of the coin, so to speak, and the card.
Correct.
Great stuff. Jack, one of the things I want to go back to, I talked about the card having the LBMA certification or accreditation, which is the London Bullion Market Association. And I just want to spend a moment and get your input on it as well. The London Bullion Market Association only recognizes 54 or 55 gold refineries around the world, and there are thousands of them around the world, but they only recognize 54 or 55 of them that produce the highest quality gold. And the LBMA was really there to guarantee the quality of the gold to countries who bought gold, like America, Russia, China, other countries. This is one of the first times ever that an individual company that's offering the gold to citizens has the LBMA accreditation on it now. I mean, that is a really big deal, isn't it?
Well, it's a big deal from several different standpoints. One of which should be an important factor to viewers, is that if you're looking to get what it is that you're paying for, you want to have some of these steps in place. The average person may not understand and appreciate what's behind that, and if you do a little research on that yourself, you'll understand that that is way up there on the list of important items to check off for looking at a gold purchase. Because if you're just going down to a local pawn shop or gold dealer and getting stuff, you have no idea, nothing that gives you assurances of what you are getting. So again, I think if you're wanting to make this an important part of what you have for your own, whether it's your future as far as retirement or whatever it may be, I've been investing in gold for many years. I didn't know some of these things myself, but after 30 years now, I do. It's something that each one of the viewers should take a close look at and make sure that's just one more of those things for a little peace of mind. So that they know that they're in a better place than where they were with those companies that don't provide that.
Yeah, and I like to say that Karatbars offers this high quality 24 karat gold bullion in small usable quantities of 1 gram, 2.5, and 5 gram. And they're usable in the fact that if you had an ounce of gold, first of all, if you take possession of it outside of a vault, Now you have to prove it's solid gold. And the only way to do it is to melt it all down and have a gold refinery expert verify it's real gold. Where here you have small usable quantities, where in countries such as Germany after World War II, their currency wasn't worth anything, and the only currency that you could buy goods and services and trade and barter is if you had gold in small quantities like that. So it is very important that you have that quality gold, but also in usable quantities in case something happens as a catastrophe with the currency in this country or in any other country.
Well, that's absolutely correct, Matt. There's no assurances. There's one thing that you understand about history and the future is that at this particular juncture, there's no way to predict it. But from a perspective of history, they claim history has a tendency to repeat itself. So while we have no indicator and crystal ball for the future, we do have actually history to look at. My encouragement is right there with you, Matt. Folks need to have that hedge. You need to hedge your bet and have something tangible in your hand, because a piece of paper that has no value isn't going to be worth much to you.
That's right. A piece of paper is only worth what the government and the business owner that you're trying to buy something worth says it's worth.
Correct. That is so true.
Well, Jack, you and I had the opportunity to speak on the main platform of Karatbars convention recently in Las Vegas, and your topic was really on compliance, which is so important in my world. But tell our viewing audience why that topic is so important today.
I wished I had the ability to spend a couple of months with segments going over, but the short condensed reason that compliance is so important, Matt, is because the average person isn't going to have the accreditation you have in the licensing. They want to protect themselves too. Let's start there with the fact that if you're out and you're making representations to individuals, even if it's family members, and saying, hey, I want to talk to you about an investment, you're violating the law.
That's true.
We just want people to understand, look, there's no reason to be scared to be involved in a program like Karatbars because there's so many positive. But at the same time, if we see a sheet of ice coming up here that you can slip and fall on, we're going to try to salt it or put up a warning flag here and say, well, we don't want you to slip and fall and get hurt here.
Right.
And so compliance becomes really important from a personal perspective so that you don't get yourself in trouble and get charged with a crime, and then have the cost that you'll have to, and legal and who knows what all else, to your own personal reputation. But you also want to make sure that in fairness you're protecting the company too. When you're out there representing a company and you go out and make representations, you're putting a label on them too. And if you're talking about this is a great investment or starting to give them accounting advice and things, these are areas that you shouldn't tread. Just refer them to professionals. If a person has a question about, is gold a good investment? Well, I think common sense would tell us that, but rather than go out there and start laying out all these things that you may be on some unsafe footing, your advice should be, well, talk to your investment advisor about that, a licensed one. Again, I stress that with folks because everybody is either thinks they're the best advisor, they think they're an attorney, they think they've got a great accounting advice, but unless they're licensed, they don't have to then account to anybody for the advice they give down the road if you're the one that winds up in a snafu where you lose your money. Right. So the compliance is so important just from the perspective you need to protect yourself, you need to protect your operations, you need to follow the rules, and it'll save you a lot of problems down the road, Matt.
Yeah, very good point is that you can't use the word investment unless you are a securities licensed advisor. And what Karatbars does is nobody sells you gold. As I always say, and most affiliates do, we're simply exchanging some of our U.S. currency that's going down in value virtually every day into real currency, which is gold. And so if I do it and tell you about it, and then you do it yourself with Karatbars, I'm not selling you anything. So it's not like an investment like buying stocks or bonds or mutual funds. We're just exchanging dollars for gold. And if you do the same thing, Karatbars happens to have a compensation plan that I get paid for you exchanging dollars for gold. And so if people have that mindset that you don't talk about it being an investment unless you're an investment advisor, that it's really just exchanging one currency for a better currency, which is gold, they can stay out of hot water legally in using those terms. Is that just tell people what you're doing, exchanging dollars for gold, and if they want to take advantage of it, they do it, and
sure.
and
Like
things
your
progress.
couple of friends, a couple of family members, a couple of business associates just sharing some ideas.
That's right. Karatbars, as we know, but I'm sure our viewers know, is an e-commerce company who within 5 years is already in 120 countries, which I think is unbelievable and phenomenal.
Amazing.
To get into each of those countries independently of any other country. And they have an affiliate program for people who want to build a substantial weekly residual income with that affiliate program. So let me ask you, how does their affiliate program differ from, say, a traditional multi-level marketing payout plan, which Karatbars is not an MLM company, but how does it differ from usually the MLM programs out there today?
Well, some of the key components, and again, I'm not going to mention any names. There are some great network marketing companies out there, but I'd be remiss if I didn't tell folks that don't already know this, that there are literally thousands of network marketing companies that pop up each year in the world, okay? Of those thousands, not too many make it past 2-3 years, and of course Karatbars is long into its path to do that. But some of the key differences is this, and I've watched this happen over a quarter of a century. A lot of network marketing companies have come along and they encourage you to buy a whole pallet load of soap or toothpaste or any
Vitamins,
number of
nutrition.
vitamins and the water filtration
Yes.
systems and all sorts of stuff. And in the worst case scenario, you're not going to be trying to talk somebody into purchasing your gold down the road and say, well, gee, will you buy this at a yard sale for a couple of dollars? Gold has its valuation. When you have something from Karatbars in your hand, you've got a tangible good that has a real world value to it that you can be proud of, and you're not going to fall into these deals where your garage is full of a lot of products that's going to get dated.
I had somebody recently who said, well, what's the downside here? And I said, well, I guess the worst thing is the company goes out of business and you end up maybe with a garage full of gold.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
You don't have to order it. It's completely up to you. So
Right.
Karatbars, as you mentioned, does not mandate that you have to order so much gold every month to qualify for your overrides or commissions. And that's where most MLMs all have that requirement. And as you said, you have to order more and more to get to the higher levels. And so you do end up with a garage full or a basement full of stuff. Karatbars does not force anybody to buy any gold at all.
That is correct. That was one of the issues that we looked at about making and ensuring that they were following the rules is one of those very things. Once you start requiring that distributors do this, buy that, they must this or must that, you start running into some problems. The long-term viability of Karatbars is there because, again, they're taking the time to follow the rules, Matt.
Yeah. Yeah, and in my research, less than 1% of Americans own gold today. I mean, as a financial advisor for almost 25 years, I would always recommend people diversify, of course, their investments and have 10% up to 20% in precious metals like silver or mostly gold. I never had a good source to send them. I told them that, but I have a good source to send them. Now we have an excellent source where we have verifiable 24-karat gold bullion that they can now diversify some of those dollars into real gold.
You got to follow where the crowds are heading of individuals that do have a little bit more experience, and then what are they getting involved in, and then grab a hold of that, and then follow some of the steps that they're doing. And I think that is going to bring about some of that same type of success. The success level is contingent about watching and viewing the map that they're following, and then following it yourself.
That's exactly right. Exactly right.
If you want to try to keep up with some of what's going on, our website at clientsaretfirst.com, I believe they'll put it up on the site, is there. If you have had a bad experience and need some help, submit it. We'd certainly take a look at seeing if we can help folks that have been in a bad situation.
Well, both you and I have made a lot of money in our lifetimes, but we're kind of in that area of our life now we want to help bless and help other people to do well. And that's
Absolutely.
It's so much more exciting than doing it for yourself.
I like that concept, and I encourage everybody else out there, if you do have somebody that you haven't spoke for in a while. I talked to somebody at the convention, and we were talking about some of the unpleasantries of life and the individuals you may have even had as enemies. Revisit some of these people. Maybe it's a good opportunity that you may have had a falling out with a friend or family member, and it's a good opportunity to come together and say, I just want to let you in on something that might be good.
Yeah.
Or you can find some common interest in. Don't rule people out. Some of the people that you least think might get involved in a good program like this may be your best individuals that you bring in as an independent affiliate.
It's a good point. I often say that you don't know who's going to take it and run with it and who's going to sit with it and do nothing with it. So
Correct.
give everybody the opportunity to make their own decision.
You betcha.